Hello everybody and welcome back to episode number 22 of the Moonboy podcast. My name is Donovan Jolly at DIY Investing and I'm here with Dallin Anderson at High Altitude Investing. This is a podcast that we host every single weekend and we post it on Sunday where we can get in-depth analysis aside from charts and we can just talk about the overall fluctuations of the market and our overall thoughts and perspective as well. You guys are going to be able to find this podcast on all of the different hosting platforms like Google, like iTunes, and Spotify. And I think Stitcher was the other one. So you make sure that you guys join, subscribe to both of our channels. Links will be in the description for both Dallin's and my channel. We upload 5 days a week and we do technical analysis and other things related to cryptocurrency. You know, guys, this has been a really exciting thing to just be here in the position to make this podcast, talk about some thoughts and perspective because the cryptocurrency market's changed our lives so much. It's been such a fun journey to really just be here to, meet such amazing people that follow and subscribe to our channels. And so this is just a way that we can connect back with you guys and help, give the perspective of what it actually takes to be profitable. I know Dallin's been here for about 5 years now. Dallin, what is some of the best tips that you think that you could give overall to some new people that are getting into the markets? Maybe they're a little bit shaken up by all of what's happening. A lot of people are still claiming bearish and it seems to be a lot of confusion. So what do you have to say to people to maybe help them, keep their perspective clean?
Yeah, for sure. So the number one tip right off the bat, this one is super helpful, you guys. It's helped me in times of fear. It's helped me when I really didn't know what to do inside of the markets. I was maybe confused. I was still learning. I've been there. We've been trading cryptocurrency for over 5 years now. And so through these cycles, there's been tons of dips. There's been tons of pumps. There's been a lot of different learning experiences and a lot of self-transformation along that journey. So this tip really helped me more than anything else that I can think of out of the entirety of all of the stuff that I've learned inside of the trading that I've done with these markets, with Forex, with stocks, with crypto. All of these markets I've traded, most of the Forex and stock stuff was traded with leveraged Bitcoin on one broker back in the day, but I've also done some stock investing on my iPhone as well and on E-Trade. So I've taken all of these different tips that I've learned and really compiled them down. And this single tip right here is probably the best one. And so I'm going to share it with you guys in just a second. But have you ever been sitting at a chart where you just all of a sudden the market drops 20% or 30% and you just feel this sinking feeling in your stomach and you're like, oh no.
Many times.
Oh no. What do I do? My investments are dropping. I put money in what? I thought I was supposed to make money. Yeah, I had all this profit and I didn't take it and now I'm down a little bit and you're freaking out, And when that happens, the best thing to do, and I always say this is the tip that I'm going to share with you guys today. When in doubt, zoom out. I literally just stole that from Twitter. Some random guy posted it on Twitter. I was like, cool, that's mine now. So that's really how I believe. When in doubt, zoom out. And that's been my philosophy before I ever saw that tweet. And it works so well. You jump from the 5-minute candlesticks to the 4-hour. You go from the 4-hour to the 1 day. You go from the 1 day to the 1 week. You go from the 1 week to the 1 month. And when you're in those really big time frames and you pull the chart down, you scale it properly so that it's not so zoomed in and focused in on this one little moment in time, all of a sudden everything becomes very clear to you. And that's really, for me, what helped me a lot in the whole COVID drop when Bitcoin went down to 3.8 thousand again and retested those lows. A lot of people got really, really scared. And I woke up and I looked at my computer and within 5 minutes I knew what to do. I didn't have to think about it. Within 5 minutes I knew what to do with my money. So I bought the dip. I put most of my cash reserves, basically all of my cash reserves, into the market at that time because of the opportunity that I saw. And so that for me is probably the number one tip. When in doubt, zoom out. Big picture market cycles are far more important, far superior to all of these little short-term noise, all the fog. There's news, there's fog, there's candlestick drops, corrections of 20%. Maybe China comes out with some FUD, maybe some exchange gets hacked, maybe some project has a failure in their code. The Dow gets hacked in Ethereum in 2016. All that stuff seemed like such a big deal the day it was happening. But 1 to 2 years down the road from that point, the markets were up 3,000%, 5,000%. So that just goes to show that like if you stay big picture in all markets, and the more big picture you think, the better off you are. There's no limit to it. You just zoom out even more and more and more. There's no limit to it. The more big picture, the better you are as a trader, and that is definitely my number one tip.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. A little tip that I would give is, for me, I would try and start in small time frames, and in my opinion, that's kind of the backwards approach to do it. The best thing for me has always been to zoom out and then start with the monthly time frame. And you can go bigger if you want, but for me, pretty much the way that I go about doing it is I'll take a look at the monthly, then I'll draw some support and resistance lines, then I'll drop it to the weekly, and then I'll draw a couple more lines, and then I'll drop it to the daily, and then I'll take a look from there. And so once I can get my monthly levels, my weekly levels, and my daily levels mapped out from a horizontal support and resistance standpoint, I can zoom into the 1 hour to the 4 hour, even short time frames than that. And it actually is perfect because you know exactly where the major resistance or support levels are. And so it makes it easy to actually go about trading in those markets. And so starting out big, you're going to have an understanding of what's taking place on a big time frame, where the big picture trend is forming. And then you'll be able to actually dive into it and take a look at the shorter stuff, so you can find short-term opportunities for swing trading, or just different levels in which price may correct to, because it's really important to have those levels mapped out. For me, it's really simple, just horizontal support and resistance. All I'm doing is drawing horizontal lines on the chart, and I'm just analyzing the biggest areas that have the most confluence on where the price reacts to it the most times, because that has always been a way that I've been able to trade shorter time frames with high success. There's actually a trader that kind of blew up in the bear market. This guy is named ICT, or the Inner Circle Trader. He's really into like Forex. That was like his biggest thing, stocks and Forex, but predominantly Forex. And in the bear market, I noticed a lot of really good traders that I used to follow to actually learn how to trade in these markets better. They would oftentimes post a lot of different tweets, and they would have tons of different trading plans and teach you guys different things. And so I would follow these guys, and for whatever reason, there was this big thing where they started following this guy ICT. And ICT, I went and watched his videos. I think that there's good content inside of it, but it's not always as applicable to crypto. But one of the best things that I learned from it was actually how he just goes to a big time frame. Like I just stated, goes to a monthly, and then he'll draw his horizontal support and resistance lines. He'll drop it to a weekly and then a daily, and he'll basically just kind of zoom in closer and closer with all of that, and that allows him to know exactly what the strong areas of value to take trades are. And that's just one specific trading plan, but it goes a lot with what you just said with zooming out, because if you know what's happening on a big picture trend, zooming in, you're not going to be so, lost as far as what's taking place, because you're going to know, and you're going to already have all of those major levels identified beforehand. And so that's a little tip that I could give you guys as far as just how to, go about trading in a methodical way. Aside from just zooming out, like there's ways that you can go about trading it. For me, it's always been horizontal support and resistance, because it's worked very well for me in times past.
So with that horizontal support and resistance, you still do that in like the 4 hour, the 1 day, the 3 day, the 1 week. You don't really go to the 5 minute candlesticks and draw horizontal support and resistance?
No, not 5 minutes, and honestly, even in the 4 hour, it's less of that. I map them out on big time frames, and then that way, if on the 4 hour chart, if we hit one of those levels and it's acting, it's coming down and retesting it as support, that's a pretty good area that I could potentially take a buy and attempt to swing trade it. And then vice versa, if it's a resistance level and we're coming into contact with it on the shorter time frames, maybe I'd be looking to either hedge my investment by taking a short or just closing and taking profits. And so I'm not really trying to draw the lines themselves on the shorter time frames, mainly just the bigger time frames where they have much more data to go off of.
Yeah, for sure, because those are the big candlestick patterns anyways. You get the bull wicks, the massive like weekly bear wicks or bull wicks on those bigger patterns, and then you get those huge reversal candlestick patterns like the bullish engulfing weekly candle on Bitcoin when it bottomed at 3.2 thousand in 2018. So those are the ones that definitely have the best support and resistance. Yeah, I agree with you. Support and resistance is a very, very valuable tool. It's very underused. People also misuse it. They start to learn it and then don't know how to apply it properly. So then it becomes more of a hindrance rather than a tool. So, that's one of the benefits of our Discord groups, is the fact that we actually talk in there with the members, and we share our posts, and inside of those posts you can see exactly where we're putting our lines. You can see what time frames we're using in our charts, and you can see how we use these tools, because you can learn something about trading. You can learn support and resistance, you can learn market cycles, you can learn Elliott waves, and you can go to apply it, and you can actually become a worse trader because of that newfound knowledge if you don't know how to apply it. And that's what I see so much on crypto Twitter, is a lot of people finding these new tools, these new trading methods and strategies, because they find some crypto guru or OG that uses it, and then later they find themselves like down 30% in their account, and they're wondering what's going wrong. Well, you just picked up a brand new strategy because you just are looking for any little thing that will work for you, and you're like just overly searching for all these little quick fixes, and you're not actually learning like one strategy to its fullest, diving into Elliott waves and understanding the rules of Elliott wave theory, and understanding all the little factors involved in properly counting your waves, identifying the 0 wave, the 1 wave, the 2 wave, Fibonacci extensions, the relationships, making sure you know what's really going on in those charts so that you can actually apply that. And the other benefit of the Discord is the fact that inside of the Discord groups, you actually don't even have to learn all of these things. We encourage you guys to. It's amazing when we get the members that do learn this stuff. We love to see the transformation from not only a financial perspective, but from an educational perspective. But you guys can just join our groups, the free group or the VIP groups, and you can just follow us. That's like, you can copy Donovan's portfolio, you can copy the coins that I'm buying. Really doesn't matter, as long as you're learning something from the perspective and gaining something from it. As long as you're gaining financially, as long as you're learning from the experience, it doesn't matter. But we definitely encourage you to do that. But it's just important to remember, you guys, if you're learning a new strategy, the Bruce Lee quote, I think it's something like, I don't fear a man that practiced 5 kicks 1,000 times, or 10 kicks 1,000 times each, or something, but I fear the man that kicked, or that practiced 1 kick 10,000 times or something. Basically referring to the fact of, you find one strategy, you do it 10,000 times, that's better than finding 20 strategies and doing them all 1,000 times, or 10 or 5,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really what I think, that inside of our groups we both have courses, and I always tell people that message me, and I say it at the end of my videos when I give a description on why it's actually important to invest in your own education, because really there's really 2 different ways that I foresee it for new people. And this is from not only from my personal experience, from my friends' experience that I've traded with, but also just talking to people in my Discord. One of the biggest things that happens is you're either going to be paying the market their fee to learn how to do this profitably, or you're going to pay somebody else to teach you how to do it. And for me, I did both. I've lost a ridiculous amount of money before I ever figured out how to do this. And it wasn't all at once, but it was one of those accumulated things where, you make a bunch of trades right, then you don't practice risk management, you go all in on one trade, and then you get screwed. And then, you're back to square one. And so it's like you might build up and then you're just losing it all back. These are all big things that happen when new people get into the markets. And so with, paying somebody to actually teach you how to do this stuff, it's always been worth it for me, because I've paid for courses. I've paid thousands of dollars worth of courses, and it really did help me a lot. And it's really the reason why I'm so good at cycles these days. It's the reason why I'm so good at support and resistance, and how to actually trade and swing trade the markets. Because, guys, I didn't learn nearly as much just watching YouTube videos and, just taking losses, basically, because it's really hard, and it gets really discouraging if you're sitting there trying to learn how to trade something and you're using your real money and you just keep making losses. It gets really discouraging to where you're ready to give up. You don't really want to keep going, which is why if you're having somebody that that you can trust, that is giving solid input when it actually comes to investing and trading inside of these markets, then you guys always got to remember that just following that and then asking questions, not risking a whole lot. It's really easy to get into the market, start doing stuff like that, and actually get to the point where you're profiting, you're not risking a whole lot, and it's not so worrisome inside of your overall portfolio, because that's some of the, it gets really intense when you're sitting there making losses. You're trying to, figure out how to do this profitably, but then you've got all these emotions that are coming through there. Whereas, by joining a group, you guys can ask direct questions to me or Dallin. You guys will always be able to get solid input. Even if you're just a free member, there's always, the ability to just message us, ask us questions. and because we're more than ready to just help you guys, because that's the biggest aspect is, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't to be able to help out the community, because I know how much crypto's changed my life, and I wanted to be able to see that happen to everybody. And so whether you're a VIP or whether you're not, guys, as long as you're looking to learn and educate yourself, and you genuinely come with real questions and concerns, people like us that are here in this situation are more than ready to help you, because we all just want to see you guys profit at the end of the day.
So Donovan, you said that you lost some money when you were learning this stuff. Now, I've been along this journey with you for a while. You lost some money, but when you actually figured it out in the markets, what'd you make? 3 times more, 5 times more, 10 times more than what you lost?
Yeah, at this point, it's at least 5 times more. I would say 10 times more. It's hard to even put a number on it, because I don't know exactly how much I lost to begin with, because it was one of those things where it was like, I'd make like 10 grand, and then I'd lose 5, and then I'd make some more, and then I'd lose 10, and then it was just kind of this accumulation. And so overall, we're up significantly. That's all I can say. Especially since 2019, buying, I put all of the cash I had at the bottom of 2019 when Bitcoin was at 3.4. It was actually 3.5 where I fully put all my money into it. And, off of that one bounce, I was able to recoup so many different losses off of Bitcoin, and then I was able to take profits and move those into altcoins. And so overall, even though the market's been super choppy through, COVID, that was another great opportunity that we both took to be buying. And because of that, even if there was short-term losses from holding in the bear market, also dollar cost averaging, because for me, XRP was the only one that I'm at a loss. But by me investing into Chainlink, by me investing into Tezos, by me investing into Bitcoin, all of those, and even Ethereum, by me investing into all of those, even though Ethereum hasn't gone super crazy, by investing in every single one of those, I'm in significant profit since 2019, and it's been very easy. Tezos has done good, Chainlink has done good. It's just finding the coins that are performing well and investing in those, and it's not even like it's that big of an issue. And so, for me personally, I'm doing really good ever since all of this volatility. 2019, when that new year rolled around, markets were very undervalued. Just buying a certain few coins made me a lot of profit, and then vice versa with COVID and all of that panic. It's been the same exact story, except more profitable this time around, actually.
So be honest with me, are you 6-figure jolly now?
That's a secret. I'm closer to like 12 figures at this point.
It's a secret, and then he just tells you.
Yeah, I got like 12-figure income right now.
100 figures.
Yeah, we live in Bel Air. We got a fat mansion, $50 million house.
Yeah, man, the only thing I'm worried about is just making sure that you don't get too crazy over there with all that money.
Well, I don't think I'm the one that needs to worry about being too crazy. I think there's other people here that are a little bit crazier than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll just put a vote on it. Comment below who's crazier. Is it me, Donovan, or is it Dallin? Because I feel like the fans know who's crazier.
Oh man.
You put yourself on the pedestal now, so now we have to let the community decide what they think.
You don't have to lie to me though. I already know you got fat stacks in your bank. So.
Yeah, we all got fat stacks. Dallin's been here since 2015. He's the person that got me into this. He's the one that started his YouTube channel first. Now we're here in this situation where it was like, I think that most people, like our friends and family, they kind of just like didn't really think that, they didn't really know what to think about crypto. It was like they saw the big bubble, they saw all of the profits to be made, but then they also saw the markets correct, and then it was also just, riding out that bear market, continuing to just invest into the markets as you can, and waiting for that next big cycle. And so I think a lot of people have kind of just underestimated the whole thing, but now we have something to prove. We're out in Santa Monica, living in one of the richest areas in the world. On top of that, we've got this YouTube channel. We've been talking about certain cryptos that have been performing super well for a majority of time. And so, we're both in that situation, really, where people, like our community, are finally able to see, these kids aren't just dumb, they're not just lying to us. They're legitimately out there making significant profits, which is why it's just so fun to be a part of. You nailed that Digibyte trade not too long ago, so you already know about a lot of the different coins that have been popping off. You've been making a ton of profit.
Yeah, for sure. No, the markets are definitely very profitable right now to be in them. But it's not even close to what they're going to be, so.
It's almost like this cycle is a little bit different, because back in 2016, pretty much that entire bull run, it was just non-stop uptrending from the second that it started. Whereas now it's kind of like, there was a big crash, then there was a giant swing on the upside after the crash, and so it's just been really, really choppy and volatile. And so I think a lot of altcoins have had a harder time sustaining an uptrend because of the fact they've been kind of suppressed throughout all the volatility, all the stuff with COVID and all the panic recently. But now that we're seeing, Zilliqa, Digibyte, there's a bunch of other coins like Lend, Band, there's a ton of other different altcoins that are really starting to pop off. And from that, it's starting to show us that things are starting to pick up. It's showing us that, what we've been accustomed to is this choppy, volatile action where I think a lot of people have been shaken out because of the volatility in the altcoins. So many people were bag holding from 2017. Altcoins crashed, 95% plus, a lot of them. And now people are just too scared to even do anything about it. And so, people that are investing right now, people that are getting in on this, they have a really good opportunity of actually making these profits, because in retrospect, where 2016 was, many altcoins had already significantly started outperforming Bitcoin. They were uptrending, they were breaking their all-time highs, and that was before Bitcoin had really even broken out of its high. Like Ethereum, XMR, those were a couple of the coins, and now we're starting to hit this point where a lot of the altcoins have mainly just gone down throughout all of this time, which is why, in my opinion, when Bitcoin really starts to take this next breakout, once we break out at 10.5K, it's going to happen so fast, we're going to see pretty much just immediate pumps, and it's going to take everybody by surprise because nobody's expecting it. I can see a lot of people are just waiting for more bearish action. What do you think? Have you been seeing a lot of different bears recently compared to bulls? What's your gauge on sentiment as it stands now?
Most people are bearish. Most people are bearish right now. I would say in stocks, I'd say in crypto, I'd say in real estate, I'd say on the world. Most people are bearish on the human race as a whole basically right now. And so that's just opportunity to me. The majority loses, so they're going to get screwed. But if you can see past that, then you can be one of the few people that not only makes money in times of fear, but thrives in times of fear.
Yeah, exactly. I'm honestly excited to thrive because I've been thriving nonetheless. Honestly, the thing is, if you stick to a plan and you're trading that plan all the way through, as long as your plan's profitable, it doesn't take long to see those profits. And for me, I've just been dollar cost averaging, since the bear market, heavily just doing that, sticking to that strategy. And because of that, it didn't take long before the markets were picking up enough. I just happened to pick a couple really good performers like Chainlink, a couple really good ones like Tezos was another one. Just investing into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's continue to outperform anyways. And so because of that, it's been really easy to just stick to my long-term holding because 80% of my portfolio is diversified into long-term holds. And because of that, it's really easy to just kind of follow that. And it's not so confusing. You're not getting so shaken up by all of the volatile price action that we've seen. And I think that's been the biggest disadvantage for most people. If you're new and trying to get into this market, you're getting in a time where it's very volatile and choppy. And so for that, if you don't have a sound plan, if you're not just kind of dollar cost averaging, or if you're not just swing trading in general, you're going to have a hard time actually maintaining profits because of the fact how frequent the markets change. When in actuality, for me, because I'm dollar cost averaging, when there's a lot of volatility, like you said, it's just a really good opportunity to make a lot of money.
So recently, what is the trade that you've taken that's your biggest trade, your biggest gainer, really, since 2020 started?
2020 started, I probably have to say Zilliqa. I think that Zilliqa thus far, Theta was the other one. Actually, it was Theta because we cashed out 300%. I wish I would have put more money into Theta, but I pretty much bought the absolute bottom when it panicked and everybody thought that it was going to break out, and then it hurried and sold off with, I don't remember what the heck it even was. I don't think it was Corona, but it could have been during that time. We had some buy orders on exchange that I had actually completely forgot about, and then all of a sudden Theta started pumping, and I remember posting signals inside of my Discord for that, and so then I went and scurried across all of the exchanges trying to figure out which one that I had it on, and so we ended up pulling profits at 300%. I think it peaked at, it was like 500 or something like that, and so I didn't quite manage to get all the way at the top, but I was happy enough with what I got. So I think that we ended up closing at about 305 to 310%. So that was the biggest. Second biggest was Zilliqa. We closed some at 60, it was 50 or 60%, and then I closed some up a little bit higher. I think it was closer to 100%. and then after that, I kind of just let the rest ride. And so that one's kind of corrected a little bit, but since 2020, I think it's been Theta and Zilliqa have been the most obvious big gainers thus far, even though there's been a lot of them besides
You've been posting there's probably like 5 or 10 coins just like that though in your VIP calls since 2020 started that did, maybe not the same percentage, but similar moves.
Oh yeah, I mean, SNT status was one. I think that we were up over 100% at one point, but I haven't even taken in profits because that was a longer term hold. Engine was another one that we've been accumulating for a while now, so that one's up. That one's probably getting close to 100% up too. And so there's actually a ton of coins that we're still holding that are just in profit that I haven't taken any profits off of because I just see more upside potential. And so, I'd have to go through and see all of it, but there's a lot of coins that are in profit. On top of that, there's a lot of signals that were posted recently that look identical to, Zilliqa, identical to, Theta, some of these other coins that just recently pumped. So it's just a matter of, for me, just finding those coins that look really good, finding those coins that look almost identical to prior setups that have just recently popped, and just buying those because, at some point it's going to do similar things, because all it really takes is for you to just copy the chart of any of the altcoins and just layer them over each altcoin, and you're going to see almost the exact same correlations in price structure. When one pumps, they generally all seem to pump, or high cap, mid cap, low cap, that cycle seems to be the most common thing that I've seen.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of altcoins popping off. Probably my most profitable trades were actually Digibyte and Bitcoin. I margin traded Bitcoin and I made over 10x, and I just was playing with a little bit because I don't like to do a lot with margin. So I put $2,000 into a leveraged account, and I actually have over $20,000 in that account since the whole COVID pandemic started. So that for me is probably my most noble, probably my most admirable trades since 2020 started, was Bitcoin and Digibyte. So
a couple that have been performing super well, actually. What's a couple coins that you're excited about right now that give you those same type of vibes of Digibyte, or maybe not Bitcoin, but something that you feel is actually going to be pumping off really soon?
Yeah, so I actually can't get into exactly what coins because most of the ones that I'm really excited about are VIP calls, but I can say that big picture, the normal ones, Chainlink, Tezos, XRP, the ones I talk about on my channel a lot. But the best of the best, those ones they're top secret.
Oh, you don't want to
give them out publicly? No.
You don't want to pump
unless somebody wants to send me an email and be like, yo, if you give me all your best calls, I'll send you $50,000 right now. Then I'll consider it. But even then, I'll just tell you to join my VIP and keep your 50 grand and make like 2 mil and, take me on a vacation sometime.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys one. Go ahead and pump our bags inside of the VIP. Go check out NYZO. That's a really low cap coin that I've recently been buying. I didn't risk very much. I told my members in my Discord not to risk a whole lot either. But that's just one of them that I'll give you guys that I think is a really good setup. As far as risk to reward, I entered I think at 21 cents. I think it's worth like relatively close to that same price. But the ticker is just NYZO. I think that one has just one of those low cap coins that you could just look into. Do your own research, obviously, but I think that one has a really good probability of going up a decent percent gain, just to the top of its resistance, like 300%. And so for me, I can take a little bit of Bitcoin that I have extra, I can throw it into some of these lower cap coins, and because of that, I'm not risking a whole lot. But when they actually decide to pump, it's really easy to just recycle and make profits. And a little bit of tip that I could give to you guys today is actually, when it comes to investing into altcoins, like I said, I have 80% of my portfolio towards long-term holds. And because of that, it makes it really easy for me to just consistently focus on the long term. But I can take shorter term trades, and this is where people get it backwards. They think, oh man, this low cap coin is like 100x to its all-time high, like I need to just buy and go all in on this. And then what happens is they go all in on a crap coin that ends up not doing anything when all the other coins pump, or never does what the thing that they thought it would. And so kind of what I could say with like NYZO, and to give perspective on all of this, is really just, take small investments, whatever you can mess it around with, whether it's 1 to 3% of your portfolio, just small investments, and you want to trade these for shorter term profits, because you can find these low cap coins, you can buy them, and then when they really start to take off, you're not risking all that much money. So if you get stopped out, or if it doesn't go in the way that you thought, you're not, severely hurting because of that. But at the same time, you can take a couple $100, you can, invest into a low cap coin that just pumps 200 or 300%. You can take those profits, and then, if you want, you can just take your initial entry fee off the table, what you originally invested, and then you can take that and then either move it into your long-term holds, or move it into cash, or, whatever the heck else you want to do with it, sell it and do whatever you want and go buy some nice things. Like a nice Lamborghini with all of those NYZO profits. But anyways, just do something like that, because for me, I'm not risking a whole lot. I can make a lot of money off of low cap altcoins starting to pump, and then I can take those profits and then just re-diversify and reaccumulate more of the long-term bags that I'm so confident in. And so I think that that's something that a lot of people should pay attention for over the next couple months, because we've been seeing a big rise out of low caps recently.
Yeah, I was actually going to say there's a low cap kind of fireworks show happening right now. And there's new coins getting added on CoinMarketCap. I think there was one last night where I just logged into CoinMarketCap or got onto CoinMarketCap.com, and all of a sudden, bam, there's a new coin that's in the top 30.
Yep.
30 projects. It was already up 200%. So not only is there new coins getting added in the top 100, but a lot of these older small cap coins are popping off like crazy. So, there is some short-term opportunity in this market. We talk about big picture a lot, but let's talk about short time frames for a minute here, because you can make money in these shorter time frames. It's just you want to be a lot more cautious, a lot more risk management involved in those trade setups, because they're not going to be as high probability. The big pictures, you can take a trade, you could be like, okay, I have 90% certainty that this is going to work out in my favor. You just set it, forget it. You can sleep easy at night. You don't have to trip. You don't have to wake up and check your investments first thing in the morning. You're just good. You don't even care. But with these shorter time frames, there's actually a lot of opportunity for taking setups with small percentages of your portfolio, like you said, 1 to 3%, getting into the market and making money off of these swings. You just want to make sure that you have your risk management in place and you know what you're doing, because some of these small caps, can also dump 50% in 24 hours. So I've seen low cap coins. I've seen low cap coins go 40%, 50%, 60% in 24 hours. And you don't want to lose 60% of your investment in 24 hours, especially if you've got 50% of your portfolio or 100% of your portfolio in it. Doesn't really matter if you got 1% of your portfolio in there. Who cares, right? You take the L and you move on. So that's kind of when it comes to shorter time frames, that's really the move, is to, yes, you can play these, but mainly play the big ones, because you got a 90% probability. You can set it, forget it, go sleep easy at night. And then you can play these small caps with small amounts. You can still sleep easy at night because you don't have tons of your portfolio in it, and you can even maximize some profits on those.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is you just want to be able to be the least emotional inside of your trading plan as possible. And for me, focusing so much of my portfolio on the long term, I'm investing in the coins that have continued to prove well, or continue to outperform, continue to prove everybody that they are, the strongest out of the market. And then, on the side, I can go and trade some of these lower cap coins that I don't have to know anything about. It's just 100% looking at good setups. Because right now, with the Bitcoin dominance starting to top out, there's just so many different altcoins and that are just significantly outperforming Bitcoin. You can find the Bitcoin pairs and make a lot of money and just continue to trade up your Bitcoin. Because in my opinion, that's always been the biggest goal, has been to trade altcoins to just grow my Bitcoin stack. Now, I'm not saying that you can't hold altcoins long term like you would with Bitcoin, because I think that that's a good option too. But for me, Bitcoin is like gold is, and that's going to be the same, parity that I expect to play out. I'm going to continue to hold, coins like Ethereum long term that I think, have such a proven track record. There's so many coins being built on Ethereum out of the top 100 market cap. So those are the ones that I have enough faith in. But even then, when it comes to taking profits, I'm going to be pulling the vast majority of that, at least 80% profits, and then keeping whatever for the long term. But that's the thing, is just knowing your trading plan, sticking to that trading plan, and not getting so shaken up by the emotional swings. Because as long as you're sticking to your plan, which in my opinion is long-term based, all of the short-term action is just more or less fun to go and trade with. Because it's not like you have to just buy something and you're either right or wrong. If you set a stop loss, you can move on if you are wrong. And if you're right, you're making all of those awesome profits. And so it's really not that big of a deal. It really shouldn't be so focused on if I'm right or wrong. It should just be focused on I'm taking the trade and, I'm learning something from that. And if you consistently do that, you're just going to be well off.
And also, just making money in the long term. Some people think, okay, I want to be a trader, and they get so stuck on making money, next week. And then they put so much pressure on themselves. It's like going and trying to be So if you pick up a guitar, and you're like, okay, I want to learn guitar. And then you make all these rules for yourself, and you make it like this big chore, and then you've got to watch 3 guitar videos a day, and you got to play for 1 hour, and you've got a book that you need to learn 3 songs in, and then all of a sudden it's not fun anymore. You take all the fun, you take all the beauty out of it. You take all the beauty of the transformation of becoming a person that doesn't know guitar to becoming a person that knows guitar. So don't do that with crypto trading. Don't take this thing and then be like, okay, next week I have to be able to be a professional cryptocurrency trader, or my life is over and I'm a failure. That kind of pressure on yourself only leads to bad results every single time. And that's exactly why with the cryptocurrency markets, the best thing to do is to zoom out, and focus on the big picture of making money long term, because you're not going to become a professional guitar player in 1 week, just like you're not going to become a professional cryptocurrency trader in 1 week. This is a lifelong journey for you. And if you make it a lifelong journey, then every single experience that you ever go through is going to be valuable to you. Not a single one will be bad. You can't lose. It's impossible to lose. Your losers are winners, and your winners are winners. Everything is winning. All you do is win. And that right there is the mindset for success, not only in cryptocurrency, but in every single thing that you ever want to learn in your life.
Yeah, because if you're not so focused on the win or the lose, and you're just always focused on the fact that you're gaining something from that, in my opinion, that's always been knowledge for me. It doesn't matter what the outcome of the thing is, because at the end of the day, going through that outcome is what taught you the knowledge to get to the point that you're at today, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing that could happen. And so that's what I always tell people to focus on, is just focus on learning. When you try and focus too much on just being right or wrong, you're going to be wrong way more, and you're just going to lose your money. And then it's going to frustrate you, and you're going to lose more money because of that. Revenge trading or just making irrational decisions is another big thing that people do. I've recently had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me, is it realistic to just, take $5,000, $10,000 and start day trading enough to substitute my income? And I always tell people no. First off, you don't even ever want to try and jump into trading with the intent of substituting your income ever. And to be honest, the only way that you're really going to be able to do something like that is if you've got a fat amount of money already kind of in your reserves, like $100,000 or something like that. Because then, when you're trading, you're only taking 1 to 3% risk per each trade. So 1 to 3% of your portfolio for every trade. And then you're also setting a stop loss with that. And so, it's not realistic that you can take $5,000, use 1% of that in every single trade, because you're not going to be making that much money off of each one. And you also got to factor in the fact that you're not going to make every trade right. Then you're going to get stopped out on some of that stuff. And so realistically, the only way that you're going to be super proficient at day trading is if you've already got a significant stack of money to start trading. Because if you have $100,000 and you're risking 3%, that's a decent amount for every position, to where if it goes up 30-50% on the trade, you're making enough to theoretically substitute that income. But the thing is, you can't just jump into it with $5,000 and expect to be doing that. Really, you jump in with $5,000, you figure out how to create a formula that works, and you're consistently profiting off that formula, and then you can just scale it. And then that's really as easy as it goes. Once you can figure out a plan that works for you, have a couple trading plans in case one isn't working with certain market conditions, it's going to make it super easy, because you can take those trades, and then you're just basically, if you're winning at least 30, if you have a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio, then you only have to win at least 33.3% of your trades. And so, if you could bump that number up to like 40 to 50% win rate, that's really good. And then you can scale that, and then you can just basically throw more money into your overall portfolio, keep risking 1 to 3%, and then that's only going to continue to grow. Because the big thing is just compound interest. The more that you trade, the more that you focus on your trading plan. It's not so much about what you're starting with, it's just getting to the point of profiting to begin with.
So you don't think anybody should ever supplement their income with trading?
Not unless they have a strategy that 100% works and they have enough money to actually do so. You're not going to be able to off of the amount that I was just talking about with what people ask me if it's possible. I don't think that people are going to take $5,000 and then substitute it taking 1 to 3% of their portfolio for every trade. That's just unrealistic.
It takes a little longer initially beforehand.
Yeah.
So I think that, well, for me personally, I went from broke to trading to teaching to, having money. So my income was trading as my source of income. So I don't think it's necessarily bad if you do it correctly, but just understand the risks and understand the realistic aspect of the markets because of the fact that it's an accumulation process. It's not getting rich overnight. And so if you keep that in mind, yeah, you can go from working a job to becoming a trader, but you just have to understand the realistic aspects and factors involved and calculate them so that you're not just going on a whim or just hoping that it's going to all work out and then being sad when it doesn't.
Yeah. And that's the thing is a lot of people are going to get put in this false paradigm where they're just going to so happen to jump into crypto right at the point where everything's just consistently going up. They're going to make a bunch of money and then they're going to get this big ego and think that they're just super, super proficient at doing this. And then, when the actual test comes around and the cycle tops out, in 2021 or whenever, then, they're going to get wrecked because they're going to be taking all of those bad trading plans and then using them in a bear market. And so that's something to pay attention for is the fact that, if you're not going to create a trading plan, there's no point in even trying to trade the market. You want to be setting a stop loss. You want to be maximizing risk to reward every single trade that you take. Otherwise, you're just going to create a bunch of bad habits. And so unless you're actually going to be doing all of those, unless you're going to be practicing risk management and you're really focused on creating a trading plan, I don't recommend that anybody tries to do it. Because it's unrealistic that you're just going to magically start and just be super profitable, especially if you're starting with small amounts. Now, with small amounts, you can still make life-changing amounts of wealth that you can then use to day trade and stuff. But that's the thing is you want to just make sure that you're focusing in on a trading plan first. And then, for me, it's focused on long-term, and then I take a small amount of my portfolio that I use for short-term trading. And that's the best way that I found for me personally because I can still maximize trading potential while simultaneously focusing on that long term. And I think the same thing can be done for you guys. If you're really focused on wanting to learn how to trade the markets, I think it's an amazing opportunity and you're able to accomplish a lot just like me and Dallin have had thus far. But the thing is, you always want to have kind of a diversification towards the long term as well as the short term. So at least that way, if you're a new guy getting into this and you're not profitable to start or you're going to make these mistakes to begin with, at least you're still profiting off of that long-term investment, that it's not so worrisome if your shorter-term portfolio is taking losses, if you are making a lot of mistakes, because eventually you're going to figure it out, and then once you figure out how to be profitable, you can scale that, and then at that point you've already got the long-term portfolio that's doing well. Now you have a short-term portfolio that you've learned to scale and be profitable at, and then it's only going to benefit you. And so that's what I would say is don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Don't just trying to be a day trader right off the bat. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes plenty of knowledge on how to actually trade the markets before you will get to that point. Because I've experienced it firsthand. I wasn't profitable short-term trading for a while, and it took me a lot of trial and error before I figured out how to do that. Had I focused on my long-term portfolio very first, I would have made way more money than trying to learn how to trade right off the bat, which honestly just lost me a lot of opportunity. But now that I'm here, I'm thankful that I learned all the things that I did. But that's what I'm teaching to you guys is just basically don't make those same mistakes that I did because I know what that was like.
Yeah, I agree, man. It can definitely be something that can, especially if you're following like somebody that is, if you're just like going out on a limb with no plan, if no strategy, with no calculation, like I said, and just being like, okay, I'm just gonna hope this all works out. That doesn't ever work out. You at least want to have a basic guideline, a basic plan for yourself. Understand like actually how much you're going to put into each trade. so that every single time that you make those trades, you know how much money you need to make monthly, you know how much percentage gain you're looking to make monthly, how much percentage max you'll lose on each trade. Just have it planned out a little bit at least, so that you're not just like throwing money into the markets for whales to grab, you know, because to be honest with you, like if you do that, you're feeding us. Like the people that have the other strategy in place, you're literally giving money to the people that have their strategies in place if you don't have one. And so it's like, do you want to be a gambler or do you want to be an investor and a trader?
Yeah, exactly. It's very important to, you know, make those goals and make those understandings now beforehand. You don't even want to be taking trades before you know all of those things. So what would you say is like one of the most important things that they could do? Somebody that hasn't started a portfolio, somebody that is just basically learning if they should maybe day trade or if they should be investing. What would you personally tell somebody in that situation?
Oh, just buy long term and invest. Don't even think about trading. If you literally like, if you don't have another way to make money right now, maybe you just lost your job because of COVID. Maybe you haven't had a job for a while, you know, you've got a few $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is, and you're just looking for a way to make money so that you can set yourself up for the long term, then I would say definitely get into investing and then figure out other ways to make money to put into playing around with day trading. You know, you go watch entrepreneurs on YouTube. There's so many good entrepreneurs out there. I know people that go buy stuff on eBay and resell it and make over $100,000 a year buying and reselling random little Chinese toys on eBay. Or you can go and you can buy a bunch of stuff at thrift stores and you can sell those on eBay. You can sell, like, you can make money, you know. Don't make money be the thing that's the problem. Resources are way less important than resourcefulness. So be resourceful. It really doesn't matter what your start is. It doesn't matter if you start with $1 million. It doesn't matter if you start with $1. It doesn't matter if you start with nothing. If you're literally wearing like some cheap clothes right now, maybe you're homeless. Like, I've been there. I know what it's like to not know where I'm going to sleep, to go set up a tent on the side of a river and sleep on the side of a river and go down into my hometown and park in the parking lot to use Wi-Fi because I didn't have access to Wi-Fi. So I know what it's like to be there. Literally, your beginnings do not matter as much as your mindset.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like if you're looking to make some money in the markets, get some capital. Get some capital, sell something. Become a salesman. There's so many affiliate marketing things you can do. You can do affiliate marketing. You can sell stuff, like I said, on eBay. Get some capital. Put some in the investments. Have a little bit of money for your food, for the things that you need to survive. And then, you know, you can play with day trading with a very small percentage of your portfolio, but don't fall in love with it and don't think that that's going to be your way out. You know, that's an accumulation process too. It's just like investing. It takes time to build it up.
Yeah, and you guys don't, if you make too many wrong mistakes, you're going to be out there down by the river. If you guys have ever seen Saturday Night Live and you know what reference I just meant, comment down below if you know. I don't even remember what the heck his name is, but he was one of the funniest people. He's from the movie Tommy Boy. I don't remember what his name is. But yeah, he has a funny little skit of him. He's a life coach for kids because he's basically there to scare them straight because he lives in a van down by the river, and so parents will pay him to come talk to their troubled kids to scare them straight. And you know, Dallin's just basically him. He lived out there down by the river.
Yeah, I drive a scary van. It says free candy on the side of it, and I just tell people to sell random stuff on eBay. So
can make so much money doing that. Actually, it's actually so insane how much people, you know, profit off of that, is buying and selling stuff. That's actually really funny because that's one of the very first things that I remember doing for money. Is like, you know, a teenager, 14 years old, before I could even get a job. So like the yard sale pages on Facebook and stuff, and the people would always sell random things, and I would always buy people's old electronics. I would buy people's, anything really that I foresaw that I could sell for more than it was valued at. And so I'd get on there, I'd scroll through them and just find random things and give people offers, but just the same as trading. Just try and shoot some low offer and get something for cheap, buy it, and then go immediately resell it for more on the website. And I made a lot of money off of used phones that I did stuff like that with. And it's just an excuse that why you can't make money if you're poor or something. It's just because you make excuses or you don't choose to just exactly. And that's the thing for me, is the fact that there's so many different ways to make money. You can trade things. It's you can trade the markets. You can trade physical items. You can freaking whatever you want. There's so many different ideas, and it's really just comes down to what are you willing to do to make money? Are you willing to sit down and think and be creative and come up with new ideas? Are you willing to push through the struggle that might be there, the uncertainty, the unknowing? Because there's plenty of that when it comes to starting any new business idea, and you're going to be filled with that. And so it's not that so scary all the time, and it's just a big excuse that we create in our own heads, belief systems and whatnot that prevent us from making money. But there's literally just so many different ways of doing it, and you guys just happen to be on, in my opinion, the most profitable market to ever be in. And we're getting in at this very square one, base one, the very beginning of things. And now what's going to be coming from this is just insane profits that's changed my life, insane profits that I know has changed Dallin's life, because I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Dallin teaching me about Bitcoin. I remember coming over to his parents' house, he told me about it, and I just kind of knew that it was going to take off. And from that, you guys see how successful we are now. You see the things that we've been able to do, and he's 23, I'm 22, we're just a couple young kids still, and we're here making these profits, showing you guys that it doesn't matter your past, it doesn't matter your current situation, anybody can do this. And even if you're not trying to learn how to day trade the markets and you're not doing that, you could still make equally as much, if not more money, just by long-term investing, which anybody can do. It doesn't take anybody special.
Yeah, exactly. And it just all rolls back down to resourcefulness over resources. And one thing I did when I was younger is, and this still works, you guys, you could do this right now. Go find people that are a little bit older, that are really, that have computers, that don't know how to run their computers, and ask them if they need help removing viruses from their computers. Download antivirus softwares, remove viruses from their computers, because there's going to be millions of them, trust me. You're going to increase their computer speed by like 50%. They're going to literally be so happy that their computer that was just super slow works again. And then you can, charge $10, $20. I used to ride my bike over to people's houses that I knew because of my church ward, and I'd ride over to their house on my bicycle and earn money every single day removing viruses from people that were a little bit older that didn't know how to use their computers. And you can help them with that, and they win, you win, everybody wins. It's good for everybody. So that's one thing you guys can do. And another thing that I did was fixed red rings of deaths on Xboxes. You can take the old Xbox 360s, people would pay me like $100 because the new Xbox, to buy a new Xbox was like $200 or $300. So they would give me $100 to take pennies. I would literally take pennies and some thermal paste from Radio Shack, and I would black tape 4 pennies together and squeeze thermal paste onto it, take the Xbox apart, remove the heatsink, and put these pennies over where the heatsink was, close back the Xbox together, plug it in with a towel wrapped around it so it would overheat one more time to reset the system, and then turn it back on, and the red ring of death was fixed, and bam, $100 in my pocket, just like that. Literally for like 30 minutes to an hour worth of work, and all I did was watch a YouTube video. So there's so many ways to make money, you guys. And $100 in cryptocurrency could turn into 1,000, 10,000. $1,000 in cryptocurrency could turn into 10,000, 100,000. $10,000 in cryptocurrency can turn into 100,000 or $1 million. So just get the money, get some capital, put it in. Maybe you already have capital. There's actually a lot of people that follow us that are extremely wealthy. So, huge shout out to you guys. Put your capital in the markets, make your capital, and it doesn't matter where you're starting from, just get in.
Yeah, exactly. Those are some nice words of advice, and it's really cool to think, kind of how you started with the whole entrepreneurship and getting started with making money and doing different things that, you felt actually could provide a lot of value, which, Red Rings of Death, I remember how pissed off I was when my Xbox would get it. So,
bro, everybody.
Yeah, it's
my
annoying.
my phone number. It was people would call me on my mom's home phone because I didn't have a cell phone. So my family's home phone number was just started ringing all the time.
Off the hook.
It was the most poppin' number and all.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's crazy too. So to give you guys an idea, so a lot of people that watch us are into cryptocurrency. I'm going to give you guys my original business idea. This is exactly how DIY investing started. You guys can take this, and I really do recommend that everybody takes this and goes out and does something with it, because in my opinion, this was a way that I started really making money in crypto, and started a business, started networking with different people, started learning how to call and talk to them, and develop my social skills. And for me, I think a lot of people out there, it doesn't really require that much knowledge about crypto. You don't have to be some expert, but as long as you know how to do the simple basic things like setting up accounts, helping them set up hardware wallets and things like that, then you're going to be able to, pinpoint people in the right direction. In my opinion, all I did, and to give you guys an input on how you guys can actually start a business, all I did was I sold a membership. And all this membership was me helping them get set up with crypto, all of the money under their own accounts. So obviously I'm not trading any of it. I'm going to help them get set up with hardware wallets. I'll help them get set up with, solid cryptocurrencies, the best performing cryptos. And then, they kind of diversify some money into that, and then they just hold it long term. And that was the way in which I started a business. All I was doing at the start was cold calling people, messaging people on Facebook, getting anybody's number that I possibly could, and just calling them and being like, yo, I got this amazing opportunity for you guys, like cryptocurrency's popping off, you've heard this from so many different people, now is the time where you want to buy it. Just really hype it up, because all you're doing is just selling yourself. And so, it's really easy to come up with a little document. I just wrote it up on a Google Docs. It had a link to Coinbase, it had a link to Binance US or whatever exchange. In my case, I'm in America, so linked them to Binance US. I linked them to the Ledger site, which I also have a referral code, so if they click that link, I make money off of them just buying a Ledger. So now they're set up with everything they need. They have all the accounts to buy, sell, and trade crypto. They have all of the hardware wallets to store it safely. And really all you're doing is just acting as a middleman to just help them get set up, because that's the thing. Everybody, the idea of crypto is so foreign to everybody. Everybody's so confused. Everybody's so lost about it that they honestly just refuse to actually dive into it, and it gives them an excuse not to do it. When in actuality, anybody that watches this channel, I can almost guarantee you that you know how to set up a Coinbase account, you know how to buy a hardware wallet or set up a hardware wallet or both, and you could very easily reach out to all kinds of people, friends, family, other people, friends of your family, and you can pitch them on this idea. And you can talk to your family. You can have them, go through their contacts and write up a list of people that they think that might be interested in buying it. And all you're doing is networking. All you're doing is reaching out and finding opportunities to make money. I charged $1,000. Oh, I charged $500. If I was doing it again, I'd charge $1,000 now to do it, because it's valuable. They can make a lot of money investing into these markets, and as long as you believe that, and as long as you have the energy showing your confidence in all this, they're going to believe you, because at the end of the day, you're talking to somebody that doesn't know anything about crypto. If they see a young, passionate kid that's made money, that's knows a little bit about it to teach them some basics, it's so easy to actually make money. And so that is a really good opportunity that I think you guys should pursue. Maybe it's your first business that you guys could start. As long as you're in crypto, people are going to listen to what you have to say. And when the markets really start to take off, you're going to see this stuff on the news. You're going to see this literally everywhere. We're already switching to more of a cashless society, especially with all this COVID stuff. The perfect ticking time bomb is in place for all of cryptocurrency to explode. And if you have a business helping people get set up, literally it takes 30 minutes to an hour of your time to meet up with somebody, help them set it up either in their house, on FaceTime, one or the above. It doesn't matter. It's super easy to do, and you can make a lot of money doing that. So I think that that's a really good opportunity you guys should look into, because that's personally how it got started towards this YouTube channel, towards my business now. That's where everything started.
Yeah, I agree. It's so important to focus on the why that you're doing it. What are you going to do with the money? Why do you want the money? How are you going to help your family? How are you going to help yourself? How are you going to help your community? That's way more important than the how of how you're going to get the money. Because if you have a big enough why, you'll find the resources. Maybe you Coinbase is about the easiest thing to set up. It's very simple, but maybe you don't know how to do it. Maybe you're older and you don't know how to work a phone as well. You have family members that are younger, or you have a neighbor that's younger, or somebody in your life can help you do it. So your why is more important than the details of how exactly you're going to do that. And I think that's just important to remember, because when you make it about the transformation that you want to have and why you want to have that transformation, everything else falls in the line. All the details, all the things you're worried about, all your anxieties, all your little things that you're getting snagged on making you not do it, they come together. Everything gets given to you for it to work out. So, have a good reason to get into the markets. And with that being said, you guys, we're about an hour into the podcast, so we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Get into the markets. There's a ton of money to be made. There's a ton of opportunity. Start a business, you guys, seriously. Just the opportunity is now. It's a recession inside of the stock market. We've been in a recession similar to 2003, similar to 2008. All of the top Fortune 500 companies were started, or like 80% of them were started inside of a recession. So start a freaking company. Start a YouTube channel, start a trading channel. Who knows? Maybe someday you grow big enough and you hit us up and we have you on the podcast or something like that. We want to see everybody producing wealth. We want to see everybody making money. There's an abundance of money for everybody to be made, and that's really what this is all about, is spreading that love, spreading that wealth between you guys, because we have been blessed with such an abundance of it for ourselves in our lives, and we're so very grateful for that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, you guys hit the like button, share this video with your friends, join our Discord groups, check out the VIPs in the description of both of our videos, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week for the podcast. As always, stay profitable out there.
Peace out.